It's an honor to share this with y'all tonight. These are my brothers. Give it up for James Fauntleroy, Philip Lawrence, Brody Brown, and the Stereotypes.
We saw it too. Bruno Mars and Rosé had another picture during the Grammy Awards. Are the two dating? How much don't we know, and if they are together, it must be one of the best or worst days of both Hooligans and Blinks. From that accidental cheek kiss in the APT music video to late night pizza runs in LA, the clues are stacking up. Is this pop's new power couple, or just the greatest PR friendship of the decade? Let's all find out, because at 39, Bruno must start being true and honest. The spark that ignited the web. Let's be real for a second. Nobody saw this coming. If you had told a Blink back in 2023 that Rosé was going to drop a punk pop anthem about a Korean drinking game with the king of funk himself, we would have called you delusional. But then October 2024 hit, and suddenly, the entire world was chanting Apatiu, Apatiu, like it was some kind of sacred ritual. That was the moment the Bruno Rosé fever officially broke out, and honestly, we haven't recovered since. It all started with that infamous Polaroid. You know the one? Rosé looking effortlessly cool, Bruno looking like he'd just discovered the secret to eternal happiness, and a caption about a drinking game. But the real chaos started when Bruno took to his Instagram stories to claim Rosé tried to kiss him. Now, in the world of K-pop, where a stray glance can start a 3-day fan war, a kiss comment is basically a nuclear launch. Rosé's playful, "I'm gonna kill you" response didn't help calm things down. It just felt like the kind of banter you only have with someone you're extremely comfortable with. When the APT music video finally dropped, the chemistry wasn't just good, it was electric. It wasn't the polished, choreographed perfection we usually see in K-pop. It felt raw. It felt like two friends who got slightly tipsy in a studio, grabbed some vintage guitars, and decided to have the time of their lives. Seeing Rosé give Bruno that quick peck on the cheek and seeing his genuine, toothy grin afterward felt less like a scripted moment and more like a blink and you'll miss it glimpse into their real-world vibe. It wasn't just the physical closeness though. It was the way they leaned into each other while singing, the matching leather jackets, and that specific type of eye contact that says, "I know exactly what you're thinking." Critics tried to call it PR chemistry, but fans weren't buying it. There's a specific kind of energy you can't fake, especially when you're blending two completely different musical worlds. Bruno, the 15-time Grammy winner who usually oozes old school cool, suddenly looked like a lil K-pop juggernaut, as he called himself. And Rosé, she looked liberated. She wasn't just a member of Blackpink anymore. She was a rock star holding her own next to one of the greatest performers of our generation. By the time they hit the 2024 Mama Awards in Osaka, the speculation had reached a boiling point. They walked out in those oversized, coordinated suits, and the way they were whispering to each other between sets had the cameras working overtime. When they won the Global Sensation Award, Bruno let Rosé take the lead, looking at her with the kind of pride that made Twitter, or X, whatever, absolutely explode. It wasn't just about the music anymore. It was about the dynamic. People started noticing the little things, how he'd adjust his stance to be closer to her, or how she'd burst into a fit of giggles every time he tried to speak Korean. But the real chemistry test came during the 2026 Grammy Awards. Opening the show is a high-pressure gig, but they made the Crypto.com arena feel like a private party. They weren't just performing a hit song, they were performing for each other. What was that? There was a moment during the Rock Heavy Bridge where they were back-to-back, shredding on their guitars, and for a split second, the rest of the world disappeared. It's that it factor, that unquantifiable spark that keeps us all refreshing their pages. Whether it's the way their voices melt together in a harmony that feels too perfect, or the way they seem to have 1,000 inside jokes we aren't in on. One thing is certain, whatever is happening between Rosé and Bruno, it's the most magnetic thing we've seen in pop culture in years. Did Bruno confirm any of the fan speculations? Nope. Guy remained mouth-zipped, but as we said, actions speak louder than words. Because if you think the sparks ended when the camera stopped rolling, you haven't seen the candid shots from the after-party. The paper trail, dates, and sightings. If the music video was the spark, the months following the release of APT were the gasoline. For a while, it felt like you couldn't scroll through social media without seeing a blurry paparazzi shot of a fedora-clad Bruno and a platinum blonde Rosé slipping out of a side exit in West Hollywood. But it wasn't just about being in the same city, it was the frequency and the context that started making everyone, Blinks and Hooligans alike, raise an eyebrow. The real shift happened in mid-2025 during Blackpink's Deadline World Tour. When the girls hit Sophie Stadium in Los Angeles, the crowd expected a high-octane show, but they didn't expect a guest appearance that would break the internet. Bruno Mars, who notoriously hasn't stepped on stage as a guest for anyone in nearly 8 years, suddenly appeared beside Rosé to perform APT. They weren't just singing, they were wearing coordinated, custom leather jackets that fans later tracked back to a boutique in Tokyo. The way she hugged him at the end of the set, a lingering, genuine embrace, didn't look like a standard industry greeting. It looked like two people who had spent a lot of time behind closed doors getting to know each other. Then came the 2026 Grammy Awards, which provided enough evidence to fill a detective's corkboard. After opening the show with a performance that felt more like a double headliner concert than an award segment, the two were inseparable. They bypassed most of the red carpet press to head straight for the after parties. The most talked about sighting wasn't at a high glamour ballroom, though. It was at the Bird Streets Club. In the early hours of February 2nd, the two were spotted leaving together. Rosé looking stunning in a high-slit black gown and Bruno looking relaxed, shielding her from the flashing lights as they hopped into the same SUV. But the smoking gun for many fans wasn't a glamorous party shot. It was the pizza. Following the ceremony, where a PT was shut out of its 3 nominations, a fake rumor caught fire claiming Bruno had unfollowed Rosé in a fit of Grammy rage. The internet was mid-meltdown when Bruno casually dropped a photo that effectively nuked the drama. The picture showed the two of them huddled together over a greasy box of pepperoni pizza, grinning like they'd just won every award in the building. He captioned it, "Count on me and Big Bad Rosie to be eating a pizza after a show." It wasn't a polished PR photo. It was grainy, candid, and felt incredibly personal. Fans pointed out that this was their second pizza date caught on camera, the first being a similar late-night run in Osaka after the Mama Awards. It's these repetitive rituals that keep the rumors alive. They aren't just showing up to red carpets, they're sharing meals, wearing matching gear, and supporting each other's solo endeavors in ways that feel far more intimate than a standard collaboration. Even the Instagram unfollow hoax proved one thing: the world is desperate for them to be a couple. The fact that they have never actually followed each other on social media despite their constant public interactions only adds to the mystery. In the age of soft launching relationships, keeping things off feed while staying glued to each other in person is the ultimate power move. Whether they are hiding a romance or just protecting the most wholesome friendship in pop, the paper trail they've left across LA, Seoul, and Tokyo tells a story that goes way beyond a 3-minute pop song. Of course, to understand where they're going, we have to look at the hearts they left behind. Past loves and private lives. You have to look at the emotional baggage and the sheer level of privacy both artists have maintained over the last decade. This isn't just about two single people crossing paths, it's about two people who have spent their entire careers mastering the art of the hidden heart. Let's start with Bruno. For 13 years, the hooligan fandom knew one name, Jessica Cabin. She wasn't just a girlfriend, she was his muse. From the heartbreak of When I Was Your Man to the triumph of 24K Magic, Jessica was the steady force in his Hollywood Hills home. But by early 2025, the silence became deafening. Reports surfaced that the couple was living separate lives, and fans noticed Jessica had scrubbed her Instagram of over a decade of shared memories. When she eventually posted that she would always cheer from afar, it felt like the end of an era. For the first time in his adult life, Bruno Mars was officially, publicly, solo. And as any fan knows, when a songwriter like Bruno goes through a breakup, he doesn't just mope, he creates. Enter the high-energy, infectious chaos of the Rosie era. Then there's Rosé. If Bruno is private, Rosé is a fortress. As a member of Blackpink, she grew up under the infamous dating bans of the K-pop industry, where a single photo with a guy can derail a multi-million-dollar comeback. But in her recent Raw appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast in January 2026, the fortress finally showed some cracks. Rosé fought back tears as she discussed the toll of secret relationships. She admitted to wearing disguises, dressing up as an elderly woman with a curly wig and a cane just to walk into an ex-boyfriend's house without being spotted by paparazzi. "I've never been in a public relationship because I want to protect the person I love," she told host Alex Cooper. "I'm okay with being attacked, it's my job. But it's unfair when someone I care about gets dragged into it." When asked point blank if she was seeing anyone right now, her response was the ultimate soft confirm. She didn't say no. Instead, she laughed nervously and said, "If I say no, it's such a lie, you can tell. I am looking for love." This brings us back to the present. You have Bruno, fresh out of a 13-year relationship, and Rosé, who is clearly tired of hiding in grandmother costumes. If they are together, their shared history of intense privacy explains exactly why we haven't seen a formal announcement. They both know the cost of the spotlight. For Bruno, a new relationship is a fresh start after a decade of history. For Rosé, it's a gamble against a fan base and a media cycle that she admitted makes her feel unsafe. The contrast is fascinating. One is a man who gave 13 years to one woman and is now rediscovering his spark, and the other is a woman who has spent her life in the shadows of dating bans and is finally ready to step out. Whether they are just friends, bonding over their mutual understanding of fame, or a couple navigating a minefield of expectations?
That was the day I realized. I was like, wow, I had no idea. I'm a Bruno Mars fan. I'm like a huge fan. And I remember freaking out the whole, like, I don't know how long the concert was, but I was like, he better stop.
Their individual pasts make their current closeness feel like something much deeper than a PR stunt. Two people this famous don't just date, they navigate a minefield of fandom and fame. Bruno is not confirming anything romantic, but the romantic tour is up and coming, and hear this out. It's colliding with Rosé's group's project, EP Deadline. What's next for the Lovebirds? The 2026 Grammy performance was a victory lap, but for those reading between the lines, it felt more like a prologue. When the cameras cut to black and the APT era officially moved into the history books, the question on everyone's lips wasn't just are they dating? It was, what could they possibly do to top this? If you listen to the industry whispers and look at their upcoming schedules, the answer is plenty. The most concrete piece of the puzzle dropped just weeks ago in a joint Billboard interview that sent the fandom into a tailspin. Bruno, with his signature smirk, finally admitted what fans had suspected for a year. A PT wasn't the only thing they cooked up in that studio. According to Bruno, there is at least one other finished track, a song they both really like, waiting in the wings. While he refused to drop the title, the vibe in the room suggested something a bit more substantial than a party anthem. Industry insiders are betting on a ballad, a vocal powerhouse moment that would finally showcase the soulful blend of Rosé's honeytone rasp and Bruno's legendary range. After the high-energy chaos of their first collab, a stripped-back, emotional duet would be the ultimate way to soft-launch a deeper connection. But the real main event of 2026 isn't just a single song, it's the collision of their solo careers. On February 27th, 2026, both artists are set to dominate the charts in a way we've never seen. Bruno is releasing his first solo album in a decade titled The Romantic. The title itself has fans doing detective work. Is it a reflection on his long-term past, or a tribute to a new blonde inspiration? At the exact same time, Blackpink is set to drop their highly anticipated EP Deadline. This synchronized release has fueled a joint tour theory that is actually starting to look plausible. While Bruno has already announced the Romantic Tour for 2026, the schedule has some very convenient gaps. Fans have pointed out that his tour stops in East Asia and Europe perfectly align with cities where Rosé will be promoting her solo and group work. In the age of the Super Show, the idea of Rosé appearing as a permanent special guest or the duo embarking on a limited run co-headlining tour isn't just a dream, it's a promoter's goldmine. Beyond the music, there's the cultural shift. Bruno recently noted that, because of Rosé, his life in Korea has completely changed. He's no longer just a visiting American star, he's practically an honorary citizen, embraced by a nation that sees him as the man who helped their #1 girl conquer the world. On the flip side, Rosé's influence in the West has reached a level where she is no longer the girl from Blackpink, but a standalone icon. They've built a bridge between Seoul and Hollywood that didn't exist before, and they seem intent on walking across it together. If they are indeed lovebirds, the next step isn't a red carpet debut or a messy tabloid reveal, it's the continued quiet support we've been seeing. It's Bruno showing up at a Blackpink recording session just to bring coffee. It's Rosé wearing the romantic merch in a casual vlog. They are playing the long game. In an industry that burns through couples in 6 months, Bruno and Rosé are building something that feels durable. Whether they eventually confirm the romance or keep us guessing until 2030, the next chapter for these two involves more than just chart-topping hits. It involves redefining what it means to be a global power duo. The APT was just the house they built together. Now, we're all just waiting for them to invite us inside to see what's really going on. Whether they're making history on a Grammy stage or dodging paparazzi in a West Hollywood SUV, they're doing it together. The industry pressure on these two is immense. For Rosé, being 1/4 of the world's biggest girl group means her personal life is often treated like public property. For Bruno, entering his 40s after a 13-year relationship means every new woman he's seen with is automatically the one. It's no wonder they've chosen a path of playful ambiguity. By leaning into the APT aesthetic, the leather jackets, the drinking games, the cheeky social media banter, they've managed to hide in plain sight. They've given the fans just enough to stay fed while keeping the truly intimate parts of their connection behind a closed door, or an apartment door, if you will. The biggest reason fans are shipping this musical duo so hard is the sheer cool factor. Bruno is basically the king of smooth, and Rosé is the epitome of K-pop royalty. Seeing them together feels like watching the two coolest kids in school finally become best friends. Fans have been losing it over their chemistry, especially the way the collaboration feels authentic rather than a forced corporate handshake. The music video looks like a high-budget house party where everyone actually likes each other. And that realness is exactly what the fans were craving. Beyond the aesthetics, the vocal synergy is what really sealed the deal. Nobody expected their voices to blend that perfectly. Rosé's sweet, edgy tone acts as the perfect foil to Bruno's powerhouse grit. It's like peanut butter and jelly, but if the jelly had hundreds of millions of streams. The way they've bridged the gap between East and West through a catchy Korean drinking game has turned casual listeners into full-blown stans of the Bruno Mars era. Whether they're teaching the world how to party or just vibing in a studio, this duo has proven that when you mix a little bit of soul with a whole lot of hooligan energy, you get pure gold. If they decided to drop another track tomorrow, the internet would likely break all over again. Bruno Mars era is officially here. But here's where things get even more interesting. At 39, Bruno Mars finally confirming the rumors doesn't necessarily mean he stood in front of a camera and spelled everything out in black and white. In true Bruno fashion, the confirmation feels layered. Subtle smiles during interviews, that lingering eye contact on stage, the way he speaks about the collaboration with a softness that fans swear wasn't there before. It's less of a dramatic headline confession and more of a quiet acknowledgement that whatever this is, it matters. For Rosé, this moment feels equally significant. As a member of one of the most globally dominant groups in music, she's been conditioned to guard her private life carefully. Every friendship, every interaction, every rumored relationship becomes a trending topic within minutes. And yet, with Bruno, there's been a noticeable ease. She laughs louder, she leans in closer, she seems less concerned with the narrative and more focused on the moment. That shift hasn't gone unnoticed by fans who analyze every frame like it's a hidden Easter egg. What makes this whole situation different from typical celebrity speculation is the foundation it's built on: music. Their chemistry didn't start on a red carpet or in paparazzi photos. It started in a studio. It started with harmonies, shared creative instincts, and mutual respect. You can fake a lot of things in Hollywood, but you can't fake vocal magic. When two artists lock in like that, it tells you there's trust there, comfort, understanding. And maybe that's the real confirmation. Not a grand romantic reveal, not a viral kiss cam moment, but the undeniable shift in energy. The way Bruno, a man who has mastered the art of cool detachment, seems genuinely inspired again. The way Rosé looks like she's stepping into a new era of artistic freedom. Together, they don't just look good, they look aligned. Of course, the mystery still lingers. Are they officially together? Is it just a beautifully executed PR strategy? Or is it something in between? A connection that started professionally and grew into something deeper over late-night writing sessions and shared playlists? The ambiguity might actually be the smartest move of all. In an era where celebrities overshare for clicks, holding something back feels powerful. At the end of the day, whether this story is about romance, friendship, or simply two generational talents finding creative lightning in a bottle, one thing is clear. The Bruno Mars chapter has already cemented itself in pop culture history. And if this is just the beginning, fans better buckle up. Because when Bruno Mars finally confirms something, he does it in style. So, did Bruno confirm a romantic relationship with Rosé? Not in public, so who knows if something romantic is actually happening behind the camera. What do you think? If you'd like us to talk about something you're curious about, drop them in the section below and please subscribe to our channel for more.